Okay guys, game might be a tiny little bit cooked. Yeah, so as you may have realized, a lot of people, Yasin for example, GGYGO as well, they've made videos talking about the current state of Yu-Gi-Oh! And that it is, quite frankly, a really toxic time to be a Yu-Gi-Oh! Player right now, because of stuff like Protos, because of stuff like Ouroboros, because of just free draw, free mistaken arrest, cross out called by talents, and all that stuff. And if your deck doesn't end on a super unfair board with infinite follow-up, i.e. Malice, or you play like 20 non-engine and hand-rip your opponent, for example, Heraldic Ryzeal, Onomat Ryzeal, yeah, then it's looking kind of bad for you. And we're still not at the full power of Onomat Ryzeal, and also we still haven't gotten all of the Magistus support, right? So we've already gotten Crowley in Battle of Legends, but we're still missing the Spoon. And to be honest with you, I don't know if we will get it in Doom of Dimension, if we will get it in a year or whatever, but we're currently missing some stuff as well from like Sky Striker. So we're missing the Camellia, which makes the access to engage a lot better, because you can just make Camellia, send engage. I think then you can steal a monster, link off, Kagari engage combo from there. But yeah, that's kind of missing right now, as well as Spoon. But if we should get Spoon together with the new Onomatokage, which is basically just a better Dwarf Glove, because this is a brick if you open it in your hand, and it's only a Dododo and a Go card, you're not that happy. But Onomatokage is basically the same, as it can special summon from the graveyard or the hand, and is always treated as a Gagaga, Zubababa, Dododo, Go card, as well as being able to banish itself and return 2 Xyz back to the deck, so that you can have infinite grind game with this, if you play Emerald, for example. And this is a list. Right now this is basically just rank for good stuff, with a lot of hand traps, and potentially also the traps to go into F0, then turn 3 to just swing with like 10k attack, 5k attack, whatever, you know. And you also have the possibility to hand trip. You can draw 2 with the Emerald Loop, you build an Omni Negate plus a Rafflesia, you Protoss lock. It's disgusting, and I will show you what it actually does. So jumping right in, the engine, it's so beautiful what it can achieve on its own. Because we start off with Spoon. Spoon will discard itself. We will add Zoroa. Zoroa is the normal summon. We normal summon Zoroa, and we go for the Artemis, so we equip. We trigger. We bring back the Spoon, then we will link off the Spoon for a second copy of Artemis, and then we will use the equipped Artemis to add Crowley. Crowley is basically Poplar, and on summon Crowley will fuse to make the Veref Ragnar, that is a monster negate by sending a face-up Magistus monster, and can also pop a card. And then we will use this effect to equip itself, so that potentially during our turn we can just send the equip, and during our opponent's turn we can just send Verafna itself. And then we will use the Spoon to put another card onto the Zoroa, and then we can send those 2 off. For either the Doom Dragon, if you want to go Auxilla and play Centurion, or in our case we go for the Chorozo, and then we can overlay those 2. We make Banshee, detaching the Dark, and we will go ahead, search Flag, and because this engine inherently banishes a card, right, with Spoon to equip, we then get to use Flag, shuffle back, special, use the effect, search out Protoss, and then we can banish the Fire, we can banish a Dark, and we can banish a Light. So we special out Protoss, and because we have a Pyro monster, while Banshee is banished, we can trigger the Banshee to summon itself back. We can link those two off to, for example, Moon. It really doesn't matter what you link it into. It's just Moon is the most generic right now. And then you can just call Light, and Yummy looks at you and they're like, okay, I can play. This is not fair, right? Protoss through Nib, and you basically FTK your opponent. And this is just what one Spoon can achieve if you decide to insta-Protoss lock. Now, because you want to play more good cards in your deck than just 3 Spoon, 1 Zoroark, 1 Crowley, you pair it with rank 4 slop. So the DOOD Warrior on its own, as I've already shown, can go for crazy emerald loops and just build insane boards. And also play through some hand traps to a certain degree. But together with the Spoon, this engine actually takes off to another level. So we have to start with the Spoon, because the Dododos and all that, they lock you for the rest of the turn. So you have your fusion stuff and link stuff that you want to do. You need to do that before. So again, it's the same combo. So equip, special, link, search, trigger, special summon, and then fuse, equip, make Gerosa, and now we go for Rafflesia. So we're basically double checking Nib plus another hand trap before we start with our main combo. Now we will use the DOOD Warrior, and we will send the Onomat Kage. This has the downside of losing harder to a Bestial, with the big upside that it's way better to just open this card instead of the glove and just looking at your hand and going, oh well, shoot, now DOOD Warrior is not a real one-card combo. Unless I want to sacrifice my normal summon. Specialty Warrior, trigger the Onomat Kage, because if you control a Zubababa, Gagaga, Gugugu, and or Dododo, you can special summon this card from your hand or graveyard, and banish it when it leaves the field. And then we overlay for the Gagaga Girl, or Gagaga Girl, search out, pick up, trigger the Warrior to go ahead and search out the code, special decode, and then we trigger the code to bring back the DOOD Warrior. We activate pickup. Pickup will then on activation search out the Onomatopera. Then we use the pickup to target the Gaga code, making every monster level 4, including the Werewolf Ragnar. So that means we only control rank and level 4 monsters currently. So now we make the duo drive, detaching one from itself, one from the Gaga Girl. This is important because we want a lot of stuff to put back later on. So we search out Ext and Node. And now we can send the duo drive. Doesn't really matter what you send here. Preferably a rank 4. And now, because we are only controlling level or rank 4 monsters, the Ext is able to search out Sword. And then we can special Sword, go ahead for Ice Ryzeal. This combo does not have access to Star, but you won't need Star and Cross, trust me. Now we go ahead, we make the Daigusto Emerald, and we shuffle back the Warrior, one Artemis, and the Crowley to go ahead and draw a card. And now we will overlay the Emerald and the Girl, make twins, special the Node. Node will send the twins, trigger the twins, and then we attach the duo drive that we just sent off of the Ext and the Daigusto Emerald. And now we can use the Emerald to shuffle back the Onomat Kage, the Gagaga Girl, and the X Ryzeal to draw a second card. Now here we go ahead. We make Detonator. Detonator will now attach the twins, and we still have the duo drive left so that we can detonate the pop itself later on. And now we send the Emerald to make up space. Summon Ice, activate the Onomatopera, send a card we just draw. For example, if you've drawn into a second copy of Nib or Droll, or if you've drawn into a Fuva, for example, you can just pitch that for the Onomatopera. And now we'll go ahead, grab a Warrior for the next turn, and also the Gambara Knight. Now we can activate the Knight, reveal the Gaga Girl, special summon in attack position, and then we have to apply one of the additional effects. And because we don't have a Gaga in hand, we just change the battle position of itself from attack to defense. And then we will overlay those two into Banshee, and Banshee will now detach the Gambara Knight to go ahead, search out Flag, and because Gambara Knight was detached to activate an XC monster, we can add one Go card, so we will also get the Berlinberg. So now we have basically the whole Warrior Onomatokage stuff, plus the normal summon special summon from deck. We have guaranteed follow-up, plus a random card, plus we have now the Protoss lock. So we go Flag, shuffle back Spoon, and then we use it, grab out Protoss, and then we banish Banshee, we banish Emerald, and we banish the Gambara Knight, because you don't really need it anymore. And we special summon the Protoss, and now we can call Dark if we play against Malice. We can call Light, and then just detach one from Detonator to protect our board. We can even call Earth against the Onomat stuff, so that, like, their Onomat stuff is dead. And just detach one to protect the Rafflesia. We also have the option of Rafflesia to either Gravediggers, or we can later on send the Plasma Hole, it's called, right? And then you can get 2 pops out of the Plasma Hole and then chain the Plasma Hole to go ahead and overlay these two into the F0. And you have insane follow-up. Like, we have 1 negate, we have 2 negates or a double pop, and an F0, and we have the Detonator, and we have a Protoss lock. And our opponent knows 2 cards in hand that let us spam out at least 2 rank 4s. This is... I know it's a 2-card combo, but given the fact that either the DOOD Warrior or the Spoon on their own can already achieve full combo for the deck itself, and opening 2 good cards just allows you to play through more stuff and build an even better board. It's kind of, ceiling versus consistency versus overall power level, and if you really go 2D maxed and you don't open any of your Ryzeals, you're just playing rank 4 slop, you lock your opponent out, you play hand trap control because you draw so many cards. This is pretty disgusting, Your Spoon is an extender because at the very least, even if you've already normal summoned, for example, your Ice Ryzeal, Spoon gets to Crowley. Crowley is just another rank 4 then with the Ice, for example. DOOD Warrior, it's a rank 4. Go Goblinberg is a secondary Ice. So it's just the slop is taking over right now, and not in like a good way where just the slop taking over means you have a lot of interesting decks. It's just rank 4 pile that can play through a lot of hand traps, can play a lot of hand traps itself, that does very unfair things, and not just one, it does multiple of those even in one combo. And it is very flexible in how you can build it, how you can achieve more consistency, and just in what it can counter. That we have to either really just later on ban X or just get Protoss back to 0, because this is just a card that can auto-lock one of the new decks out of playing, and I don't think that Konami actually wants you to just, Protoss Light, and then just pass to your opponent who's on Yami and just passes back and you just OTK them, because they could not play. So the game's in a tough spot right now, and the new cards we have on the horizon don't really make it better. It's just, I wanted to show off how bad it's actually gotten, that this is not a table 500, everything goes right replay, but this is like actually a decent hand this deck can consistently achieve, and a board that this deck can consistently build, more or less. I'm still gonna play. I'm gonna complain and I'm gonna play. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Stay safe. See you the next time. Bye.